Hello, and welcome to episode 91 of the Late Challenge podcast with me, Paul Cope, and him, Gareth Roberts. This week we'll be talking about Robbo's t-shirt, about how an Arsenal team absolutely devastated by injuries and suspensions somehow managed to battle through to a 2-2 home draw to the mighty Liverpool, who had more than a full-strength team and at times had more than 11 players on the pitch. We'll ask whether we're starting to witness the beginning of the end of Andy Robertson's life at the very top of the game, praise Ibrahima Konate's form, and discuss the likelihood of this being the last season we'll see Trent Alexander-Arnold in a Liverpool shirt. That's what my money's on. And of course, we're going to have to mention the very, very sad news that has broken in the hours before we started recording, that Erik Ten Hag has been sacked as Man United's manager. There will be no more. It's a sad day, isn't it? But given our... Have you seen Robbo's t-shirt? Look at Robbo's t-shirt. Everybody look at Robbo's t-shirt. It's no good if you listen on the podcast. It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, I just wanted to plug the t-shirt. The t-shirt is from Hat, Scarf or a Badge, which if for any reason you've never heard of, where have you been? Great little shop by the grounds, by the Flatiron pub. Also got a website, Hat, Scarf or a Badge, run by a great fella called Mick. Mick's just a good fella to have an attitude generally. Proper Reds, been going forever. And if there isn't a t-shirt in his shop that you like, I would be surprised. This particular one is the mighty Graham Souness lifting the European Cup. But there's loads of others in there, range of sizes, range of designs, loads of stuff, reasonably priced, nice fella, local business. Go and check it out.
Nice. Do it. And plugs aside, and football aside, in the usual mix of randomness, we're across the two shows, as always, this and the Patreon show. I'll update you on my first stand-up gig that I did last week. My most recent health experiment that I haven't told Robbo about yet, but it's leading me to smell like a cross between sewage and bleach. I don't know whether you could get any of that as I came in.
No,
my girlfriend lovingly told me this morning, it stinks of sewage in here, which is nice, isn't it?
Is that not just your arse? Like, you're just doing little farts as you're going around the house?
No, just this morning. Or when she walked, it was like the bedroom, so that could be farts in the night, couldn't it?
Yeah, a little Dutch oven going on.
Yeah. But I think just generally, I could smell it on myself. And when you can smell it on yourself, you're like, that's something.
Yeah, and I'm intrigued. I don't know about any of this.
Yeah.
I don't know about the stand-up.
It's brand new. I got it at the weekend.
And I don't know about the new drug. So
we'll get round. We might get round to that. And whatever else comes up, we might do a fancy footy update. But we'll start with the Reds and the positives. Robbo sent me this stat. It's stat after stat for... Yeah.
She was born in January 23.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I remember your nan saying, like, whenever he was ringing about Klopp,
William.
She was like, he's no William Connell.
You like that Klopp fella? I tell you what, you should have seen William Connell. Belted him, lad.
Yeah. That's not a bad record to break, is it? One from 1923. And before we even played the Arsenal game, we won our opening 6 away games in a season for the first time in the club's history. And we're the first Premier League side to do so since Man City in 2017-18. And this other one that I saw on Sky, excuse me, Honest Slot is the first manager to win 11 of his first 12 games across all competitions in English top division history. That's mad, isn't it? Mm. It's a big one that just seems to have gone
this is the thing as well. With us just doing like one show a week, you can sometimes like sort of cast over these things, or we can. But I was thinking, we kept saying on here, and everyone kept saying to me about, fairly favourable start and all that kind of stuff. And then it was like, the real test is going to be when they get into this period. Well, we beat Chelsea, we beat Leipzig, and we've drawn away to Arsenal. So I'm going to say, well, we're passing some tests here. And we're nearly pretty much a quarter of the way through the season. So are we allowed now to say, they're doing all right, They're doing all right,
Exactly. I was laughing. I was putting together the agenda, thinking about that. We'll bounce around, obviously, as we always do, but because with the whole injuries thing, I was thinking, are we not going to get? I know we only drew, we didn't win, and we'll come on to that as well. But the whole injuries thing, it's like, we should have done better. And I do think, by the end of the game, when they lost Timber and Gabriel, during the second half. At that point, I was surprised we didn't kick on a bit more. But going into the game, it's like, I do think, I don't know what it is about us. And maybe this is just, our own confirmation bias. And like with every other club, my brother-in-law who watches sometimes messaged me after the game, who's an Arsenal fan. And he said, like, what do you think of it? Do you thought it was a missed opportunity for you? I think some of the refereeing, the ref was like in your favour, basically. And I laughed at that because I was like, did you see Howard Webb did the Stick to Football podcast last week? And he made a funny point. Like he said, do you know when he goes around to speak to all the clubs? Like the beginning of last season, he said he only saw 17 of the 20 clubs, and every single one of those clubs said they don't get 50-50s in their favour. And he went, so the only logical conclusion to that is whichever 3 clubs I didn't go to see, they get all of the decisions in their favour. And I was just like, but that's because I was even trying to be objective. I was like, I'm not sure which decisions you'd be moaning about. That the one you want to. I could see how you'd, being biased, you'd claim a pen for the Konate and Trent tackle. But I think even in the replay,
about is where it's ended up in the net, isn't it?
Yeah. But I said, did you get this in real time? I'm watching it home, and I'm sure, unless I imagined it, I heard the referee's whistle early.
He blew it well before
in real time.
He blew it
the commentator just missed it completely.
When the fella goes over Szoboszlai's head.
He blew it then, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then post-match, they were going on about he didn't put his hand up. I'm like, didn't need to put his hand up. He'd blown his whistle.
The whistle, yeah. I thought that. And I was like, it's not a goal. It's not and they're carrying on. And the commentator's still going. Go on then. Where's the... Like, it just feels there's a lot of Arsenal fans, isn't there, that you see. Obviously, there's probably some ones that you don't. There's a lot of Arsenal fans that you see because they're the weirdos tend to get traction online, don't they? That have been making out this mad conspiracy thing, and there's everyone's against them and all this kind of stuff, and that this was somehow more evidence of it. I don't know what they were all watching, to be honest. I mean, for me, like even the way it was all set up and the injuries stuff. When you saw the lineup, you're like, well, it's not that bad, is it? I mean, like, okay, you've got Thomas Partey at right back, but yeah, you've got a couple of injuries. Yeah, but so have we.
Yeah, but this is my thing about Thomas Partey. Keeper. Thomas Partey at right back was a choice. They didn't have to play Partey at right back. They had other players they could have played, and they decided the Partey was their best option at right back, didn't they?
I didn't get it, and I don't get it now, and I don't get why people need to go to these great lengths to sort of tell me that it's something that I didn't see. Do you know what I mean? Like what I saw was, 2 good sides, play out a draw. Arsenal have the best of the first half. We have the best of the second half. That's about it, really, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Well, it was funny because I was looking at the stats, and like, if you look at the stats, we had 55% possession to their 55.3 to their 44.7. Both had 9 shots. We had 4 on target. They had 3. We had 3 off target. They had 4. 2 blocked shots each. Passing percentages, ours were 83, theirs was 80 pretty much. Clear cut chances 2 each. Corners 3-1 to us. Offsides 2-1 to them. Just the whole game, even the XG was 0.92 for them versus 0.81 for us. All of that tells the story of the game, doesn't it? Because even that, there weren't like loads of big chances. Both teams scored off set pieces. So let's go through it like properly. What are you thinking generally about it?
I thought, not surprisingly, because I was saying this to someone else over the weekend. I think the way managers talk, the way players talk, all the rest of it, we sometimes think that, these players can just go out there and produce week after week after week, and if they don't, then there's something wrong, and, we all start running with some narrative of a problem or whatever. I think when it's the biggest game of the weekend, it's hyped to fuck, it's on the telly, it's R4, it's the headlines in every newspaper, it's the most discussed game, all of that. I think that gets to the players. I really do. I don't care how much like psychologists they sit in front of or whatever, or however many times they do it and they become used to it. They must feel something when it's a bigger game. And Liverpool must feel something going to the Emirates knowing it's a tough place to go to and a tough place to get a result. They're a decent side, whatever we want to say about them. They've been runners up twice the last couple of years. They beat us in February. It's only October. You know what I mean? So I thought at different times in the match, you could see like the respect stroke fear from each side to the other, if you know what I mean. So that it's, there's a lot of talk today from the Arsenal perspective of about, they didn't go for it. They shit themselves a bit. They started taking where they were at in the game and this'll do type of thing. I thought Liverpool did a bit of that as well.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's a respect thing. It's a huge game. I still think from our perspective though, I'm all right. I think it's a good result. I think, we've gone there. We're down twice. Okay, you can talk about, and we will talk about, those goals and whether they were daft and shit defending and whether Robbo's done now or whatever. But we've come from behind twice, away to Arsenal, which was a tough place to go and win, as we know. And we're right up there, a point off City, still 4 ahead of them. Where's the fire? Like, you know what I mean? Like the start of the season, as you've already said at the top of the show, is brilliant still in context. We're playing Carabao Cup Wednesday, is it? Then Brighton at home in the league on Saturday. I'm happy. I don't think Liverpool were at the best. I think they could have been better, but I'm happy that they've come from behind twice and come away with something, and we're in such a favourable position in the league. That's sort of like my takeaway. I've got no fume about it really, other than I don't understand some of the negativity. I guess someone said last week, you've reached your age, surely you just get that there's negativity and knobheads. And I was like, I know, yeah, but it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that with me. I know it's there, and every week it triggers me. It's just the way it is.
And the other thing is, I always think this about the internet with some of the big...
What's THB in terms of our currency?
Thai baht.
Is it? I was going to say, that'll be why.
We had thousands of Thai baht in, yeah.
We've got one of them super chats from Lee Murphy, and it says 1,000. And I was like, someone just give us $1,000. But it's $1,000 of THB. So yeah, Lee Murphy, always good to watch you guys. Gareth was thinking of a funny story you told back when he was on the rap during a tour. That one guy tried to grab your balls. And when you asked what was he doing, he replied, I pay my subscription, made me lol. True story. Yeah, true story. Told that a number of times. That did happen. But thanks for
That worries me though. Who is it, Lee?
Yeah, is it you, Lee?
Is Lee? It worries me. He's reminding you of that story as he's sending us money.
He's sending money. Next time I see you,
I see you, Robbo. It's a
thank you, Lee. Much appreciated. No idea what that translates to be honest.
Whatever it is, thanks, mate. We appreciate it.
£22.79.
It's nice, that.
Canal.
Yeah, very nice. Thanks, mate. Yeah, what were we
throwing
saying?
You that, isn't it?
Yeah. Just thinking of people grabbing your bollocks now. It is a great line, isn't it? I'm a subscriber.
Like. Oh, right, well, that sound. You just take a big old feel of my balls then, mate.
Is that, without knowing it, Neil put that on the website, like what you get as part of your subscription?
Yeah, I'd imagine, yeah. Some secret
Sorry,
tier.
Robbo, that's my fault. I did put that on the website, that they could have a little
Neil's
fee.
never spoke like that, by the way.
I know.
Where did that voice come from for Neil?
I don't know. I'm just doing random voices lately. I think I don't know. I think I was thinking about this as the comedian. Well, we'll talk about this later properly, but the comedian who did this course with us and MC'd, like hosted the show we did, the stand-up show last week, introduced me and another fella as having like a midlife crisis. And I was like, yeah, it's fair. And I was thinking about that. I'm gonna start incorporating that. I think I'm 6 years into my midlife crisis now, and I think that's the next bit of it. I'm just gonna start doing voices, just because they make me laugh. Do you know what I mean?
We got another super chat. How'd you say? I guess her name's Michelle, but she's just done the Mish. Fucking hell, I've gone down some mad rabbit hole here. Anyway. She's to give us a 5 and it says have a cup of Gareth and get Cope or Ibrahima. Thank you.
Thanks.
Cheers. Very much appreciated. Sorry about the name thing, but that's me, innit?
That's where we are.
But where are you about it anyway? Where are you about the results and the performance and everything else? Did you emerge with fume or were you alright with it?
No, that's the upshot I texted my brother-in-law about last night was like, at the end of the day, it's mad that I love me conspiracy theories generally, and there's always something anyone can make up, but I just don't see, and this happened in the season under Klopp when we basically lost all our centre backs, and all of a sudden it was like, nah, you can't even moan about that, Liverpool. If you're Liverpool, you can't complain about that. It was like when the whole thing about Arsenal were missing players. It's like because Kelleher's good, we're not allowed to mention that we're missing the world's best goalie, and we're also missing our first choice centre forward.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I just think generally, I was thinking about this on the way in, because they're missing, to jump into that and come back again, they were missing Saliba through suspension and Odegaard, who, fair play, is one of their best players. But I think if you asked all football fans what are the two most important positions on the pitch, wouldn't we generally say it's goalie and up front? The lad who scores you the goals and the lad who saves the goals. Midfield and centre-back, yeah, of course. If we're missing Van Dijk, it's a problem. But you need your centre-forward and you need your goalie more than anyone. They were big losses for us going into that game. And it's like it wasn't even mentioned. Because we've got Nunes and Kelleher. It was like, well, it's not mentioned. And you're like, yeah, well, I loved Van Dijk's reaction to it post-match. You sent me a clip, and it was funny because you sent me a tweet that Miguel Delaney had, a quote of Arteta saying, very proud of the team, especially with the situation we were going through at the moment. And did you delve into the replies to that? I should have put them in the agenda so we could see them, but they were hilarious. Like, it was basically everyone ripping the shit out of him, just saying, like, what fucking situation? I saw someone say, which made me laugh, it's like, can you see the situation in the room with you right now? I like that. But it was like, what situation? You're missing. I looked it up. Where did I have? I've put it in here. They were missing Saliba and Odegaard, as I said, from their first choice team. And then they had Calafiori, Tierney and Tomiyasu on, there's a website with official injury list. So 3 squad players. We were missing our first choice goalie and first choice centre forward.
Elliott.
And then we were missing
Bradley.
Elliott, Chiesa and Bradley.
Yeah.
And they're all 3. They'd have been on the bench, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
So...
Because apparently, I don't know where I've seen it, but someone was saying Trent was playing with a muscle issue. And so you 100% would have brought Bradley on at the very least, wouldn't he? I mean, if Trent was playing with a muscle issue, would maybe explain why he was shite.
Yeah.
It was funny. It was funny, like in our group chat, like I was ripping him, saying what's happening here, and like people were, other mates are agreeing and all that. Then he plays that ball for the equaliser, and you're like, oh, all right then.
Yeah.
But the amount of times you give it away, and like he just generally didn't play that well. And you were coming on to it, aren't we, about that interview we did as well?
Yeah, and I think there's something ties into that, which we will get to later. But it was so you sent me another tweet from Dan Critchlow, who looks like an Arsenal fan, and he was
knob.
I read that the other way round. He's talking about Van Dijk lying. Oh no! So I've misread that. He says it's a bit embarrassing when even the players are lying to themselves about our injuries to try and convince everyone it's a better result than it is. Oh, so he's talking about our players lying about the injury. He's saying like
we're playing it down when it's actually a big deal.
Oh, right. So I've read it the other way around, obviously. It just shows how easy it is to misread stuff. Because the Van Dijk, I love the Van Dijk interview. When the interview went, the Sky interview went to him about their injuries, and he just like, with like a look of disbelief, was like, what injuries? 2 injuries. And it's like, yeah, but I have seen this a lot with Liverpool. Like, it's like our injuries don't count, but then, but I do think it's because we just don't make a big deal of it, especially now under this manager.
Well, the manager doesn't, does he?
You just get on with it.
Yeah, like, and I think the vibe of the team generally sort of seems to reflect the manager as well. I mean, one thing I really liked about yesterday, as well as the fact that we've come back from behind twice, is, yeah, we didn't play that well. It wasn't a classic performance or anything like that. But I never felt like we were panicking. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes you can't you like, you concede, it's a big ground, big game. Like I say, it's been hyped up to fuck. And like, you can collapse in that situation, can't you? You know what I mean? Whereas I thought they still seemed relatively calm. And even when, it might not have been going to plan, you could still see they were trying to do the right things and all the rest of it. But, look, I mean, you said about missing Jota, and I think we all would have, like, if Jota's fit, he's playing. Do you know what I mean? There's no two ways about that. I thought Nunes grafted, worked hard. You saw him popping up in defensive positions a lot. Good attitude, and obviously plays a good ball, albeit in a rather bizarre way, to Mo to set up the second equaliser. But he doesn't have a shot, does he? he doesn't do anything centre forwardy, really. And okay, we can blame him about the midfield function and all the rest of it for that, maybe. But I think if Jota had been on the pitch, like, we're more of a threat, aren't we?
Yeah,
we'll cause them more problems.
There's a reason he's Slot's first choice.
Yeah.
We operate better as a team, as Slot's unit with Jota, don't we? And I think the thing that there were a couple of things that would frustrate me about the performance, which again, Joe, we always have to remind ourselves this. We're only a few months into this manager's reign. He was left a good team, but Arteta's been in charge of Arsenal for years to work on this.
Spent a lot of time.
Yeah, exactly. And go back to they beat us a few months ago. This is the exact same squad because Chiesa's out. So Slot's using the exact same squad to get this much more out of them. We do look, for all their first half superiority at times, we still look way more solid. But the thing that frustrated me was giving away loads of daft free kicks.
Yeah.
I've noticed this I love Alexis McAllister, but he's got an air of James Milner about him to me, and he did it when he came on during midweek or last week, whenever it was. And Milner used to do this. Like Klopp would bring him on to like shore up the game, and he'd go and do something fucking mad, like give the ball away.
Got a
or
cob
give
on,
away
didn't he, when
kick.
he was getting skimmed by Saka? Like,
yeah, well, he's got that in him, hasn't he? Like, he has got that devil in him, and I just thought, considering how good they are, did you see the stats during the game? Like, they're just well better than everybody else in the league at set pieces.
Yeah,
and going into the game knowing that, you'd think they'd be like, lads, no silly free kick.
I mean, they see. To be fair, they only have one corner, Arsenal, or something like that.
One corner,
and it was
right
at the end.
Yeah,
and it was like, so you've obviously done well there to prevent them getting corners, knowing they're decent at them. But free kicks around the edge of the box as well, lads. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it was a bit daft. That. Just a shout for Brace the Bill. $20 says, need to get Paul some crisps to go with the Ribena. Have another pint on me, Robbo. Thanks very much, mate. Cheers.
Nice one, mate. Appreciate it. Yeah, so that annoyed me. And then, I don't know, I'm a bit torn on I want to have a chat about Robertson because it was mentioned during the Chelsea game, and he did struggle a bit against Madueke. But then I think he grew into the game. The Saka, the first goal, I think there is an issue defensively. I do think there is criticism of Van Dijk in it. I think
he doesn't sprint.
Yeah, but no one mentions Kelleher because of the finish. But I think there's a chance Alisson saves both of their goals. And I know that's being overly critical, but I just think his positioning. I think if you talk Kelleher through that, he's half a yard too far to his right. There's too much space in his near post, and at the same
probably
time,
expect him to go there, though, isn't he?
Yeah, but
he's just like the speed he's got that shot off and the power of it. It's just done.
That's what I was about to say. The other side of this is it's a good goal. It's so easy to criticise your own team, but when it's your own team scoring boss goals, you never say the other team defence was bad. Saka is an unbelievable player, isn't he?
Yeah,
it's such a good goal. He's such a good player. So there's a part of me that's like, and that's why I just wanted to have the chat about Robertson. Like, is this just a bit of a dip? As he just had two tough games against two very good young wingers, and anybody would struggle, and everybody does. And is it wrong to highlight him? But he's come off as well for Tsimikas, which never used to happen, did it? And that, I think there's a change in. I've got a feeling Slot likes Tsimikas more than Klopp liked Tsimikas.
Yeah, I was thinking that because my mates were saying in the group, like, we need to get Gomez on, and I was like, it's not going to happen, I was thinking, it's not going to happen. It's going to be Tsimikas.
Yeah,
and then
he seems to trust him a lot more, doesn't he?
Yeah,
which is
he's
interesting,
into him, isn't he?
So what's your view on it? What's your view on where Robertson is?
I'm always wary of doing there. Well, that's it. His legs have gone, but seen quite a few people, including pundits, saying it over the weekend. I heard. To be fair, I heard Pat Nevin saying it before the game, saying I've watched them last couple of games and I think you can get at him, and literally highlighted what happened basically before the game, and I thought afterwards, that's good punditry then, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? But a couple of them were saying it afterwards. I mean, he's 30 now, and look, it happens, doesn't it? And I think me included, you don't want to say it because he's been absolutely brilliant for us, and I've loved him. I love him. Do you know what I mean? I love his energy. I love that he winds up the opposition and opposition fans. I love that Evertonians hate him. I love everything about him. You know, fortunate enough to interview him, and he was absolutely sound, which you'd expect him to be. All of that plays into the. Nah, I don't want to admit this. I don't want to admit there's a drop off. I don't want to talk about getting another left back in, but you know, it's an unforgiving environment, isn't it? And we've seen that before we all loved Fabinho, didn't we? And then all of a sudden you're like, you know, time to win. And like all of a sudden, dead quick, he looked way off, didn't he, Fabinho, like that. And like, you know, I've heard Neville talk, your mate, about, as everyone always says, obviously, like in terms of like looking after himself and being a pro and all that, he was pretty good at all that, wasn't he? Do you know what I mean? Or that's the impression you get. But I remember him saying there was just all of a sudden there was just games where he was like, I haven't got it.
Legs, yeah.
I haven't got it.
I think something that's important on that point about Robertson is think about how much running he's done in his career.
Yeah.
Do you, even in just the years he played under Klopp, like he had some engine, didn't he?
Yeah.
Constantly up and down.
We always think about that City game, don't we? Where
exactly,
he's like,
that sums him up, doesn't it?
Chasing them all down, and we're all like, come on, and it was absolutely boss. Like you wouldn't want him to do that now, would you? You'd be like, lad,
but he does.
Conserve a bit of energy.
But I think it's noticeable that he doesn't do that now. Like as we've changed, even last year under Klopp, as we tweaked the system, he became less of that bombing up and down the wing left back, didn't he? And he has become less of that again now. And I just do wonder. But it's funny because, you know, obviously what we'll come to talk about with Trent, there is a bit of, if I'm looking after this Liverpool squad now, and you're looking at Van Dijk's contract situation, there's a bit of an issue coming up here. Like we could get into next summer and we've got a lot of work to do and a lot of money to spend.
Before. But on the other hand, though, I mean, it does on the contract stuff, which, you know, someone fumes in the comments, don't they, if we don't talk about it every single week. So, contract watch. The line now is that all three are being spoken to now, isn't it? So, you know, that's progress from where we were before. And I'm still not. I've seen, like, you know, the real fume about it and all that. I just still don't think it was unreasonable from any of them and their agents, if we're all being realistic, to go, just going to see what happens here. Because wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean? If Klopp's going and he's been that influential, he's been an absolute figurehead in charge of everything, you know, to the point where other fellas were getting off because they probably felt like their toes were being treaded on, maybe. You're going to say, well, there's going to be loads of change here and God knows what direction that's going to go in. I'll have a look at this then. And now, you know, said before, nearly a quarter of the season gone. That's a decent amount of time to have a look. It's going all right, lads. So, you know, maybe that works in our favour. But, I mean, we're here now and we're talking about contracts. That interview was... honestly, because I was thinking, is it just me, this?
Has everyone thought the same thing when they've watched it then?
Well, I thought this because I watched it. I didn't sort of intend to watch it, if you know what I mean. Because I had the telly on and I was doing stuff around the flat. And I'm not normally that arsed about that stuff, like, do you know what I mean? And then I just thought, I recognised Trent's voice, and then I could hear that he was obviously, so I just, I'll watch this. Oh, see what gets said. And when he said the thing about, yeah, I've captained the club.
Yeah, so let just for anyone who didn't see this, he did an interview with Sky with Harriet Pryor, who used to be on the Anfield Wrap, and it was like this sticker book game where there was various categories and he had to pick like his favourite out of like a blag sticker book and the sticker on this board. So he'd already done questions like, which of his teammates' best skill would he take and stuff like that. And then he got asked the question, which of these achievements would you want? And there was 4 to choose from. I think it was to win the Champions League again,
Ballon d'Or,
win the World Cup with England, captain Liverpool, or win the Ballon d'Or. And after a little deliberation, but not much, he picked win the Ballon d'Or, and even Harriet reacted and said, that's the last one I thought you'd pick. And it was interesting because we'll talk about, and you let us know what your reactions were if you watched this. But my reaction, it was funny watching Jamie Carragher talk about it after the game on Sky, because my reaction was exactly the same as Carragher's. So what was yours when you saw he picked that? Was it the same as
the Ballon d'Or?
Yeah.
No, it was the captain thing that
Shocked you?
Yeah, I was just like, because he's always said it, hasn't he? And I've said it on here. We've come on here and said, but he's always said he wants to be the captain of Liverpool, so that's not ticked off. So surely he still wants to do that. And the fact that he twisted it to say, I've done that. It's like,
so again, if you didn't watch it, and this was the moment I was like, he's gone. He went, I've already captained Liverpool. And that was the moment I was like, you've changed that in your own head.
Yeah.
Because in the past, I want to captain Liverpool meant I want to be Steven Gerrard, the captain
you are
of Liverpool.
The de facto captain,
but
you have captained Liverpool in a game. Yeah, that's a different thing.
Which loads of people have done. For me, it's a step further than that, isn't it? The reason you want to be captain is you want that picture of you holding the European Cup or the league trophy as Liverpool's captain. And when he went, just with a shrug, I've already done that. I was like, he's gone. He's gone. Because that was the only thing I was thinking.
I thought in general as well, there was just a vibe, wasn't there, about it? Like, it was sort of like, almost like he kept trying to say, like, I've got ambitions beyond this type of thing, and I don't want to put a ceiling on my ambitions type lines over and over again in different ways and in different words. And it did feel like it was like,
Did you think it was mad? Because it was funny watching Carragher, because Carragher did the thing they all said on the panel, like, nothing wrong with having the ambition to win a Ballon d'Or and be the first ever right back to win a Ballon d'Or, which I agree with that. But Carragher looked like he was getting a bit annoyed with him because he almost went like, I mean, it's a bit fucking ridiculous because it's a team game. Do you know what I mean? So the standard answer is win the World Cup or win the Champions League. I was a bit surprised by it because for me that answer is a bit of a like Cristiano Ronaldo type answer. Like, it's all about me, and that's what, when you mentioned the passing in the game, I think there's a couple of times where Slot's like, he's doing my head in. I've told him not to take the chance on that ridiculous pass unless it's on, and there are times he's just giving the ball away now. And I don't know whether that's in his head. Because think about if you're playing the game thinking, I want to win a Ballon d'Or from right back. I mean, for a start, fucking hell, ambition is great. But Theo Walcott, I think it was Theo Walcott said it on the panel, or someone else said it, like, you're miles away, mate. Like, and even if you move to Real Madrid, you're going to be in a team with Jude Bellingham and Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe.
Yeah.
So if they win the Champions League,
if collectively you do something,
you think you're going to be the best player above them to win the Ballon d'Or.
But did you hear Melissa talking about it?
No.
So she was on, obviously, Sky as well, saying that is something that she understands is something that Madrid say to the players.
As a selling point.
Yeah, as in they say to them, if you're going to win the Ballon d'Or, you do it when you're at Madrid. Look at the history of where it's gone. Like, you win things here. You'll win the league. You'll win the Champions League. You'll win the Ballon d'Or. And she was just like a bit like, it seems to tie in with something that we know is said to players as part of the way to tempt you in, if you like. So again, it doesn't sound or feel particularly positive, does it? And look, it just, rightly or wrongly, it just hasn't gone down well, has it? It just didn't land that well, whether you like him or not, or whether you understand the situation or not. My thing with it in general, I don't know if we said this the other week, I think we did. Someone said there, Anthony Boylan give us £2 and said, talk about contracts or I'll squeeze your nads. So let's talk about contract. But did I say it the other week? The only bit about it now that really sort of bugs me a little bit, if you like, is not that he might go to Madrid, because he's not the first player to do that, obviously. It's just whether couldn't this have all been managed in a bit of a better way? Do you know what I mean? If indeed he does go. But what I mean by that is, behind the scenes, because we always say this, don't we? Like, what we get in public from everyone is mostly what they want to be in public. And there's loads of other stuff behind the scenes that we never get to know about. There's another world there, stuff that doesn't go into the press, isn't said on camera, all the rest of it. And I just wonder, could there not have been a thing where they say, sign another deal, but it's on the understanding that you go. Do you know what I mean? So, like, sign another deal and Liverpool get something for you then. Liverpool get a fee for you. And I think that just makes it feel a bit more palatable to everyone. The fact that he's the fact that he's come through Liverpool from being a kid from West Derby to where he is now, and he's won what he's won, and he's played for them, blah 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 blah, and we'll get fuck all for him. That's the bit that sort of jolts a little bit, and you're like,
well, and that's going to be, well, there's a few bits on it, but that's going to be one of the big ones that jolts with everybody. And there is the other side of the argument. Did you watch the Roy Keane mic drop moment at the end, the bit where Carragher had been talking about it and Walcott had been talking about it?
No, I missed them talking. I missed them assessing this interview. I didn't see that bit.
So it was post-match, but he just did in the typical Roy Keane way. He just looked at Carragher and went, "So what you're saying is you want loyalty?" And he went, "Yeah." And he just went, "Well," he turned to Dave Jones and went, "Like I've always said, if you want loyalty, get a dog." And everyone just burst out laughing. And he was just he's just posh, isn't he?
He's good,
but he went, "Look, it's from my own experience." Like his story at the end of Joe, he was loyal to Man United and then they just binned him off. And
yeah,
I always say this in defence of players, like they have only got one career. We bin off players when it suits us. The football club bins off players, doesn't stay loyal to them. And the fact of the matter is that answer in itself, I want to win the Ballon d'Or, suggests it's like, I'm not that arsed about you. Like, this is about me. This is about me now. And again, it's his career and he's only got one career and he probably doesn't have, because he's another one, isn't he? He's a bit of a Jamie Redknapp for me in the sense that Jamie Redknapp always felt like he had potential. And I remember someone going to me once, he's 28. And I was like, oh, fuck, yeah. Like, Joe, in my head, he was always younger than he was. Trent's 26 now, isn't he? Like, it's crept up that he's coming up to the end part of his career, probably.
Do you think we've ended up with a problem as well, though? And I think maybe we did talk about this at the time. Obviously, we gave Mo what he wanted or thereabouts in the end last time he signed the contract. And honestly, these spam calls do my absolute head in. Look, I haven't got time to answer it. Anyway. What I was going to say, Mo, when he got, presumably close to what he wanted and became Liverpool's highest paid player, there was a bit of me and us, and I think we said, is there a bit of a rod for our back situation here? And this is it. So, like if you're Trent's agent now, you're saying to him, you've won the Premier League, you've won the Champions League, you've been capped for England, you're regarded as like a superstar, you're this, you're that, you're the other. He's getting that. Why shouldn't you get that?
Yeah.
And then,
but he's not far off it, is he?
And then Virgil's agent
don't know for a fact
saying the same thing. And what I'm saying is, you've got this problem where all of a sudden, you're like, how do we manage this wage bill if we put them all on that? Because that's not where we were before. And okay, people who obsess over the sums and obsess over the owners will say, well, there's quite a few people gone out, and they're right, by the way. No one's come in particular. So, we've saved on Matip's contract or whatever, and this, that, and the other. But just, what I'm saying is, I feel like loads of people speak about this whole situation as though it's dead straightforward. And it's not. There's loads of moving parts, isn't there? Like, there was someone in the comments there, and again, this passed me by, I didn't see it, but he was saying that Carragher said, you might have seen this, that there's a bit of a feeling sometimes that if you're like an academy product or whatever, you should take a lesser wage. And there will be, from his agent and maybe from himself, of why should I? So yeah,
there's almost an argument the other way, isn't there? If you're an academy product, you should get paid more because you never cost the club anything.
Yeah,
to buy. But
it will feel, like I say, it will feel unpalatable for him to go for absolutely nothing, won't it? I mean, there's still people talking about Steve McManaman now. Still don't forgive him for it now that, we got nothing for him. But
it'd be interesting.
But he was stood in airports believing he was going to Barcelona, wasn't he, once upon a time? Because the club were prepared to sell him. And like you say, it doesn't get talked about that way around much, does it? Like, I can remember, and okay, it's a different level of player completely and all that, but did something with Jay Spearing once, and was talking about this about how clubs treat you. And he said, mate, you'll just get like a call and they'll go, soldier. And you're like, what? Yeah, see you later, like. And he said, like, you know, loads of it's dead cutthroat. And he's like, and he said, like, fans don't realise that side of it. And like, they love the club and they're blinded by the club. And there's that sort of like, I call it like club tie syndrome. Like everything everything with a Liverpool crest on's right. And it's not, is it? You know, there's loads of stuff that people who've worked for the club over the years have got wrong. But there's loads of people who'll defend it to the hilt because it's Liverpool Football Club. And I'm sure there's fans of every club that do that. So there's that side to it as well, isn't there? Do you know what I mean?
100%. And I think about it, like Trent has set up his own academy to look after academy players who are binned off and not treated well. So I think if you had this conversation with Trent about loyalty, he'd go, nah. Like, the club hasn't been loyal to me. I'm in the first team for Liverpool because I'm fucking brilliant. And yet they developed me and they helped me and they did well and all that. But I've watched my mates through decades at this club from when I was 6. I've watched good players be binned off and the club wasn't loyal to them. Not only was it not loyal to them, it didn't look after them. It just binned them off. And I've watched teammates be sold at times when we shouldn't have sold them because the club wanted to get rid of them and wanted the money. So why should I be loyal? It's like PSG had the same sort of argument with Kylian Mbappe, didn't he? Sign a new contract. He won't leave, like the owner saying, he won't leave because he wouldn't leave us like short on money. And I can imagine Mbappe and Trent could say the same thing going, sorry, Mr. Billionaire, you're saying that I should be the one that sacrifices so that you don't lose money. Don't try and twist it to these fans that it's like, it's them getting ripped off. If you want to put money in, but don't say it's on me to do it. I've helped us win loads of fucking trophies. I've done my bit. I've repaid the faith you showed in me. It was a two-way situation. You got out of me what I got out of you. I don't owe you anything. And there's a big part of me that goes, yeah, I'm all right with that. The problem for us is, and we've defended FSG loads over the years, we lose a player that's worth 100 million and they won't spend 100 million to replace him.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
And it's the fact that it's all at once, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like you said at the start of this section of the conversation, there's lots of stuff where all of a sudden you're like, this is starting to feel like a lot of things at once. Do you know what I mean? So not only those three, but now Robertson question marks, all the rest of it. And it's like, even like people are saying now, well, we need someone up front. Because, Núñez, as we already discussed, worked hard, very admirable in that respect yesterday, but ultimately not really a threat in terms of shots on goal.
Winning us the game. Yeah.
And I don't think personally that Jota's been that great this season.
No.
So, okay, we said earlier, you'd 100% start him over Núñez and perhaps he would have been more of a threat if he was there. But he's not been at his best. So now you're having that conversation, aren't you? You're like, but could we get a good striker? And I just think like it's all dead hard, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? And like even what's he called, Slot? We were saying the other week about him, weren't we? About it's funny that he come in and presented himself in a certain way, and we're all sort of buying into the the Dutch stereotype of he's dead calm and he's dead relaxed and all that. Gets booked the other week, booked again yesterday, in the press conferences saying,
"Straight his head off." Yeah. Do you know what I loved about it? He said "fuck" twice, as if it was not. You could hear Tony. Did you hear like Tony Barrett to his side, being like, "Lad,
yeah,
you can't just keep saying fuck in the press conference."
Good though.
It was great. I really like him, and on the Trent bit, and then we'll go back to the game just to finish off the show. But
say, I'll do my thing that I always do. I am in the comments there. Yeah, we already talked about Arwen's assist earlier on me, so we don't have to keep mentioning it over again.
I love that about people who watch online. It's like, well, I wasn't listening when you said it, so say it again. Like, okay, just go back. Yeah, the mad thing about the Trent thing, of all the got holes in the squad, I think there is an element of like, we've already got Trent's replacement and he's boss.
Bradley.
Like, yeah. And look, don't get me wrong, before anyone shouts at me on the internet, as footballers, I've said this before, as footballers, Trent is fucking stratospheric, his ability. But I think the other thing about that interview that was fascinating, which no one's talked about because of him saying about the Ballon d'Or. But the thing in the middle of saying that was, he was saying he wants to be a right back. Think about it. He wants to be the best right back the game's ever seen. So he's made a decision. Unless we see something different, it seems like he's made the decision he wants to be a right back. Well, I think there is still a very good argument that he is not the best right back. Do you know what I mean? I think he's been better this season defensively, but I think arguably Conor Bradley is a better right back and it's funny with Slot. I think sometimes an unbelievable player like Trent can give you a problem you don't need as a manager. Do you know what I mean? Like, because it's like, well, we've got to fucking build a team around him because he's great. But actually, there might be an element of Slot where he's like, but I prefer Bradley for my system. Bradley's better for me, like overall in the structure of the game.
Well, if you think about it, what we said before, he probably, like, if it had been Bradley, you probably wouldn't have got a lot of the mistakes in terms of giving it away that we talked about. But then equally, you don't get that ball that leads to the goal. So it's like, it's a conundrum, isn't it? But yeah, there's so many moving parts on it, isn't there? And look, it's not, none of this is to be negative, is it? I mean, like we said from the start that, you know, it's actually a decent result. And, you know, it's certainly a decent week to beat Chelsea, Leipzig, and then draw away at Arsenal.
100%. Well, and look, Slot made the point in the post-match press conference, which, picking on the positives, we were away in Europe and we had a day less recovery than Arsenal, which is crucial in these big games. I do want to stress the thing I said before, like the bit before we finish on all the positives, that was the only bit that was disappointing for me. Twice when we scored, we didn't kick on. And I think that goes back to something you said before about, you know, the respect for the other side and knowing that they still had that threat. Because once they lost, I know what we were saying before about going into the game, they didn't have loads of injuries. But once they lost Gabriel and Timber in the second half, at that point, if I'm on that pitch, I'm looking at each other for us going, we should go and win this game now. You know, their defence is decimated here. Let's just go and win it. And it just disappoints me a bit we didn't do that. And at the same time, to finish on the positives, we still got a draw away at Arsenal, which is no mean feat, especially as you said in the context of that week. And I don't want us to go without talking about Konate, because I think his form has gone a bit under the radar, hasn't it, recently? There's all the usual stats bouncing around. He won 3 out of 3 duels, made the most clearances 6 and recoveries 6. Won 100% of his tackles, superb performance. I think it's actually his performance was one of those that went beyond the stats. Do you know what I mean? Like I felt like he had that attitude about him, like that presence on the pitch of like, you won't mess with me here. Like you won't get past me.
I wasn't really into the challenge in the box, I've got to be honest. I know we got it.
Well, he's still got that in him, hasn't he?
I know we got it, but it was like, okay, no.
But that's the thing he has still got in him.
Yeah.
But that's, for me, that's the difference between a defender like Konate and a defender like Van Dijk. Like, we can criticise Van Dijk for not sprinting back to cover Robertson, but we've seen that's his style, and his style is calm. So he stays more calm than the likes of Konate, who's fucking diving around everywhere and jumping in. That's just the way it is. But
yeah, no, he's been great. And you know, he obviously started the season that he'd lost his place, hadn't he, to Quandar, and then he's in and he stayed in, and deservedly so, and been great. And even sort of like, you know, being on the ball a little bit more, where sides have tried to say, oh, well, they play out from Van Dijk, so we'll get on Van Dijk. And then he ended up setting up a goal, didn't he? So, yeah, he's done decently. More than decent. Made up with him. And another one, a bit like I was saying about Robertson before, was just like very likeable, isn't he? Like, you're made up that he's doing well. Do you know what I mean? Because he's got something about him. He's a bit of a character. He's good in like interviews afterwards. You imagine he's good behind the scenes in the dressing room and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And you need that, don't you? So, yeah, it made up for him. And, you know, we're still only... That's another thing to say, isn't it? Like, we've only conceded 5 goals, haven't we, in the league?
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, after this many games, that's not bad, especially after what was going on last season, where, it just seems like teams could cut to us at will. We went down 1-0 so many times, and then we would pull it back. And okay, there was like a nice ride to that, and it was enjoyable. But how many times did we come in here and say, I'd just like it if we won something quite straightforwardly and it was like better for the heart? Well,
we didn't have
that now.
We didn't have lads just running right through the middle of our
But
team.
now you got people saying, I miss the chaos.
Yeah.
And it's like, you sort of, you can't win. But I mean, ultimately you can win. If we stay here until, in this position until, April, May, and we're challenging for stuff, and we see where we go from there, well you will win people over by then. I don't think people are saying, I still miss the chaos.
Yeah.
As you're lifting a trophy.
No.
You like how you've lifted a trophy, so it doesn't matter. Like, people said Houlier's football was boring, and then we had a fantastic season. That's one of the best seasons ever of supporting Liverpool, as far as I'm concerned. And no one was like, oh, Houlier's footy's shit, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
We were getting off a plane at Speak with a load of trophies. So.
Which is the whole point.
Yeah.
I think it's worth throwing in, because we'll just stick to the week ahead. We've got Brighton twice now. Obviously, one of the big things that's changed, and he sort of said himself, well, he did say himself when he got asked, how are you keeping Konate fit? He's like, well, I don't know he got asked, what's the difference between last season and now? And he was like, well, I wasn't here last season, so I don't know. And he was just saying, like, we're just doing what we do, and the players are committed to it, and that's really good. But do you think, what do you think the score is this week? Do you think he'll make wholesale changes again for the League Cup away at Brighton? Because it's interesting, Brighton were looking imperious, weren't they? But they've had a little wobble in the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, and threw that away in the last minute, didn't they, against Wolves? I think he made loads of changes, definitely. I think the schedule right now is a bit mad, isn't it? He said himself, like, this was a test, not just in terms of opposition, but frequency of game. And we're playing again Saturday, 3:00, so I don't see that he's like, just going same again, lads. Like, it's got to be changes, like, do you know what I mean? And, maybe give Tyler Morton a game and, players like that. I'd actually quite like to see Tyler Morton get a game.
Well, the reality is there are loads of lads who need a game, aren't there? Yeah. The likes of him, Bradley, if he's fit, Quansah, Gomez at centre back.
Yeah.
Tsimikas can play a full game, and we can still put out a good team. Endo looked all right when he came on. It was interesting. I was going to mention this, actually. We've run out of time, but I thought it was interesting that Jones struggled in the more advanced position where you'd think it was easy. And I was wondering to myself, and it's early to say this. Do you know, like, we've joked in the past, haven't we, that like playing number 6 for a Klopp team is fucking really hard. I wonder, in a weird way, is playing that advanced midfield role in a slot team difficult, because they're being asked to do more than we think they are. Do you know what I mean? It seems like that's more of a free attacking role. But the thing he's praised Szoboszlai for loads in that position is his work rate and his discipline and all the rest of it. And I think we've all been, I don't know, I've definitely been surprised by, you'd think Szoboszlai in that advanced role would be getting more shots away, scoring more goals, and he hasn't been. And it was interesting watching Jones in that position, thinking, you're not even really getting into the game here, mate, from this advanced place where I thought you would. So I just wondered, because when Endo came on, and it was like, no, you just fucking chase the ball around, mate, and put them under pressure. He looked better.
That's what he does, isn't it?
That's what he does. Like, a little. I still love. I'll never get over. Like, I still love watching a footballer put a tooth, like a mouth guard in. Do you know what I mean? Like a boxer.
Yeah.
I just love that. 'Cause it's like going to the opposition. Yeah, I'm just gonna fucking come for you.
Someone's mentioned there, and I agree with this, that it's not being mentioned much. And he's another player that seems to really trigger some comment box wankers. But I think we've missed Elliott, because like in games like that where you just want someone to come in, be forward thinking, have some energy, bring some new ideas to the table. I think he's really good at that. I'm not saying he's just a super sub, but he was very good at being a sub, remember? You know what I mean? And doing that, keeping us going until 93rd, 94th, 95th minute, instead of letting it sort of just trickle out. So I think we're missing him as well, just to highlight our injury woes once more, and make the point yet again that it's not only Arsenal that get injuries in this league. So yeah, I agree with someone who's just thrown that in the comments, mentioning that we need him back, Dom O'Shea. Definitely.
Yeah.
So
yeah, fair point. And it is mad. Like it's like everyone's forgotten about Chiesa already, isn't it? Because we've brought him in last minute, cheap deal. Like, oh, he's injured. Yeah, but he could be great. And it's like, oh no, he is injured. Like, great.
Yeah, loads of people immediately defaulted to the most negative position possible. Oh, well, it's obviously a waste of money, and that's why we got him for that much. And no wonder they wanted to sell him and all that. Still time for it to be all right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But Slot even made that point, didn't he? Like, we have bought him for the long term. Yeah. This isn't like a one-season deal.
Fingers crossed it's not like the other fella whose name I've already forgotten who we bought and just never played about 11 minutes today or something and then got off again.
The one under Klopp.
Yeah, you forgot him as well, though.
Yeah, the one I always remember is Aquilani. Do you remember when we bought that?
Fucking hell, yeah.
Like to replace Alonso. And you're like, fucking hell. But then he was just injury prone the whole time.
I'm still, are we nearly at the end of the show?
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention, get it in, you may have seen over the weekend lots of, or the last few weeks in fact, lots of banners at grounds, inside, outside, all the rest, saying stop exploiting loyalty. This is a Football Supporters Association campaign supported by various supporter organisations, including Spirit of Shankly. And the banner will be at Liverpool on Saturday, about 1:30 outside the food bank on Walton Breck Road. So we're encouraging fans to come down, Liverpool and Brighton, just to show some solidarity really and show how that, stop exploiting loyalty is something that affects everyone and it doesn't really matter about rivals and all the rest of it. So some of Spirit of Shankly went over to Goodison at the weekend and stood with the Blues and the Fulham fans for the same reason. It's just a bit of a thing really, not only about ticket prices but also about concessions. So across the league, only Crystal Palace didn't put the prices up this season, and then I'm sure you've all seen it, Tottenham, Nottingham Forest, West Ham. There's various things going on to make football less affordable, including for kids and stuff like that. And it's just all a bit grim. I don't want to do a big massive section on this, but just to say if that's something that triggers you as a football fan, and it probably should, you should probably wonder about when it is you're the person who's priced out or whether it's going to be your kids who eventually priced out. If you give a shit about that type of thing, and like I say, I think you should, come down on Saturday, 1:30, as I say, the food bank, Walton Breck Road, just on the corner between the Kenny stand and the Cop. Come down, 1:30, jump on the picture, hold the banner, do your bit, stop exploiting loyalty, as that is the message.
Absolutely. Agreed. I got distracted then because I just remembered I need to do some admin for the lad who won the fantasy football last month and I haven't sorted it out yet, mate. If you're watching, I'll email you after the show. Last little bit before we jump over to Patreon and talk about Erik Ten Hag being sacked, amongst other things. We did a little survey about would you come and watch our 100th show if we did it live in the middle of the end of December. We've had 18 yeses, 1 no and a maybe. Thanks for the maybe. It doesn't help us at all. Someone asked if we could do it in the new year and someone else asked could we do it in the evening. We will definitely be doing it in the evening. And I've added a question to the survey to ask if you'd come if we did it in the new year on a Saturday evening on a date to be agreed. So we'll put the link again under this show. If you haven't already answered, if you've already answered, don't answer again. We'll assume if you could make it on the 28th, you could make it on another date. But if you would come, but not on the 28th of December, but you'd want to come in the new year if we did it, go to that link and let us know. We just need to make a decision because this is show 91, so we're fast approaching, and the middle-aged man in me is like, it's nearly Christmas, so we need to decide what we're doing about it. So let us know on that. This is the end of the show. We are going to go to Patreon. We are going to talk about Erik Ten Hag. We are going to talk about my first stand-up comedy gig.
Mellow.
What?
Mellow.
What's mellow?
Arta Mellow.
Arta Mellow, yeah.
When
you said that, my brain was going, why are you just saying random words at me?
But that thing's happening now, where like 101 people say it. And then when when this show goes.
Comment to me.
When this
You
show
know what?
comes.
I was thinking about
so
that.
the show, for those that don't know, right? This show, like when we're doing it live, obviously we see all your comments in the live chat, and then as soon as the show ends, it sort of sits on YouTube and it starts again, doesn't it? Like, so you sort of get like a different raft of comments from people who are watching it not live, and loads of them are just gonna say "Heart and Mellow."
Yeah.
And no!
Do you know what though? It's like, it's a hack. It's a hack to get YouTube comments, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just say something during the show that makes people. The thing I don't get about this, maybe let us know in the comments on YouTube. Do people pause the show at the moment that they're like,
You well do, yeah.
I'm pausing the show to write a comment to say I know something you don't? Because we often address the point in the show, don't we?
Right.
And yet there's still comments in the show going, it's this, by the way. And you're like, yeah, we said it in the fucking show. So yeah, tell me if that's what you do. It just intrigues me, behaviour. So yeah, we're gonna talk about Ten Hag. I'm gonna talk about my comedy gig. We're gonna talk about my latest health experiment. I haven't told Robbo about an experience I had of people leaving a show early a few weeks ago, which I think he would find amusing based on what we talked about people leaving footy matches early. It topped people leaving footy matches early.
Really?
Yeah, that's mad.
Intrigued.
There we go. Bit of intrigue for you. So if you want to see that, come over and watch us on Patreon. I'm conscious, like watching sport market.
Just about.
Yeah. That's one of those sentences you can't just stop in the middle. I'm conscious. We probably ask you to do too many things, and we should just ask you to do one thing. So if you want to come and subscribe, if you want to come and see the subscriber show, come over to Patreon. There is a link below this, probably. If there isn't, you can find it easy enough. Just search the Late Challenge Podcast on Patreon. You can get a free trial, so you can watch all of the shows. You get 7 days free, no strings attached. You can cancel once it's done. There's a shitload of past shows on there you can catch up on. And obviously, you get to watch what we're about to do. We'll be over there in about 5 or 10 minutes if you're watching live. If not, it'll be sitting there whenever you're ready, because that's the way it works, isn't it, on the internet? Yeah. That's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for your support as always. See you soon. Bye.